Welcome back to the Self Mastery Podcast. I'm your host and self mastery coach, Ricky Gorsi. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing a quote which absolutely blew my mind. It made me reevaluate and rethink my entire philosophy towards self development. So, the other day, I was on a call with a really smart friend of mine, and he's a fellow coach, and we're having a discussion around all sorts of things. Now, he dropped this one liner which absolutely blew my mind, right? Now, what he said, and this is the quote that we're discussing, is self-development doesn't count if you want to do it. And I was like, what does that even mean, bro? Like initially I didn't understand it. And then when I sort of like started to understand, I didn't really agree. I was like, no, that's not true because there's a lot of things that, are based in self-development that I genuinely enjoy doing. But then I started to think about it a little bit deeper and I started to think about it from the perspective of someone who, is just getting into self-development, right? And they have like a negative relationship towards stepping outside of their comfort zone. And then it all clicked for me. Okay. So, what the quote actually means is the self development work that you do, that you like doing, you genuinely want to do it, all that sort of stuff. More than likely, that sort of work that you're doing, while it is still good and I'm not dismissing it, but that sort of work is still within your current comfort zone, meaning it's not actually going to lead to any significant growth, right? It may keep you at like a maintenance level of whatever the realm is or category of self development is. But in terms of like actual growth, actually expanding who we are and expanding our capacity specifically, it's not really going to give you that. So, what does it mean to do self development work that you don't want to do? Right. Well, put simply, it's literally doing the work that makes you uncomfortable, uncertain, and quite frankly, you're sort of like scared. You don't really want to do it because it's outside of your comfort zone. But the thing is, with anything, right? If you're doing things that are continuously inside your comfort zone, while it may feel good in the moment, it's not actually going to lead to any significant growth or any, long lasting positive changes. The actual things that lead to changes, the actual work that leads to changes is the work that in the moment you're like, bro, I do not want to do this. Like, not only do I not know how, but every fiber in my being is telling me to not do this. I feel awkward. I feel anxious. I feel uncertain. I feel uncomfortable. When you're in that state and when you're in this thing of like, bro, I do not fucking want to do this. Like when you meet your limitations, right? When you meet the edge of your capacity, that's the work that counts. And man, since I heard that quote, it really revolutionized everything for me because I started to just think back on all the experiences I've had, which have, been the self development work that I didn't want to do, right? Like I've been to plenty of self development seminars and all this sort of stuff. But at one of the seminars, the like host of the seminar, they got me to get up on a stage in front of hundreds of people and like as hard as I could and as loud as I could scream from the bottom of my like diaphragm. Scream like it literally went for like a minute. Now you might be thinking, why the fuck would you do that, Ricky? Like what growth does that lead to other than making you look a little bit silly? I'll tell you what it leads to. It leads to essentially the eradication of social anxiety. Like if you can get up on a stage in front of a ton of people and scream your lungs out, that really expands your capacity to the point where you're like, bro, if I can do that, I can do anything. So relating this to the quote, right? Self-development doesn't count if you want to do it. I did not want to do that. Every fiber of my being was like, bro, do not get on that stage and do what they want you to do. That is stupid. You'll look silly. What if you mess up? What if people judge you? Right? All these things are like thoughts are happening within my mind. And I made myself do it because I said I was going to do it and I'm a man of my word. But through the act of doing the thing that I really didn't want to do, I grew as a person. Because after that, man, after like I screamed on stage, I'll have to find this video somewhere and post on my Insta. But after I screamed on stage in front of all these people, afterwards I realized like, well, like that was really hard to do, but I did it, right? And then now I have a past reference in my mind of doing something extremely like, hard essentially in front of a big group of people. So my social confidence and my ability and capacity in a social setting is significantly higher after that event. Because in my mind, what happens on an unconscious level, anytime there's any degree of like social worry or social anxiety or anything like that pop up, my mind literally by itself, like I'm not consciously doing this, my mind automatically goes to that place and it's like, bro, you literally did that. Like, this is nothing compared to that, right? So through doing the things that you don't want to do that make you uncertain and uncomfortable in the moment, you expand your capacity. And your capacity is literally the limitations you have, right? So for example, let's say there's two people, person A, person B. Person A has a super high social capacity and person B has a super low social capacity. So person A will be able to walk on stage and give a speech on something he's deeply passionate about because he has the capacity to do so. Person B won't be able to do that because they haven't developed the capacity. Then it's like, well, okay, how do we develop a capacity? How do we expand our capacity more specifically? Well, you expand your capacity by doing the things that you don't want to do, the things that are outside of your comfort zone. Because the only way to really expand your capacity is to step outside of your comfort zone and do the things that you're uncertain, uncomfortable, and really scared to do. So yeah, this quote has revolutionized my entire view on self-development. I always knew, right? I always knew that you had to be outside of your comfort zone to grow. Like, I think that's a pretty common understanding, but it just solidified that for me. And it really removed a lot of the fluff around self-development because, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. There's some self-development work that's just like, is this really doing anything? You know what I mean? And a lot of the time that self-development work is when it's inside your comfort zone. Like, for example, for me to host like a men's self-development community call, which I do every single Monday, there's not any uncomfort or uncertainty there for me anymore because I've done it so many times, right? Like when I first did it, I was extremely uncomfortable. I was uncertain. I was scared. I was all these things. But after I did it a couple of times, I was like, oh, cool. Like this is just normal now. So my comfort zone expanded and my capacity increased. Okay. Now, if I was to give a speech in front of 1 million people on a stage, that would definitely be something right now that's outside of my comfort zone, right? But, and even though I wouldn't want to do it, like I actually would want to do it, but this sort of defying the quote. But there would be parts of me that would be like, bro, I do not want to do this. This is scary. What if I fuck up? What if I jumble my words? All these sorts of things. But after I did that speech in front of 1 million people, I guarantee you I would grow as an individual. It's inevitable. Like you cannot not grow from doing things that are outside of your comfort zone because the past references form in your mind and you have those then to refer back to. It is one of the most transformative things you can ever do, to just genuinely do stuff that you're scared to do things that you're not sure about, do things that you really don't want to do, right? Like just take on challenges, even if it's not aligned with who you think you are or what you usually do or what's quote unquote normal for you or even for society. Go experience things. It's through experiencing things that you develop yourself. It's through experiencing things that you are actually giving yourself the opportunity to expand your capacity. It's really one of the most powerful things you can do. And once you start looking for opportunities to expand your capacity, you realize it's everywhere, right? Like, let's say you are a man who is, I don't know, has like trouble speaking to women, right? Your comfort zone right now is like, I can't speak to women. Like that's sort of where you're at. Now, if you want to get better at speaking to women, how do you do that, right? It's pretty self-explanatory. You speak to women, but the only way you're going to get better and overcome that fear and expand your capacity as a man is to actually do the thing. So let's say, like, and take it incrementally, right? As Jordan Peterson says, if you want to change the world, start by cleaning up your sock drawer, right? Like, start super small. If you are the sort of guy who genuinely can't even smile at a girl when you're in public, start with that. That's outside of your comfort zone, right? Doing that little act alone will expand your capacity and then build up from there. It's like, okay, cool. I can smile at chicks and I feel fine about that now. There's no more growth to be attained from doing that specific thing. Okay, what's the next thing? You might task yourself with complimenting a woman in public, right? Someone walks past you, a girl walks past you, a lady walks past you. You say, I love your outfit, or, you look great today, or whatever it is, right? And you are incrementally expanding your capacity. And this is like real life, real actionable results you're getting. Like, this isn't like some just journal about it and, it'll come true. And it's like, no, you're literally in the field. You're doing the work in real time, in real life, in society with real people, right? It's like you will have the quickest development and the quickest accelerated growth through doing that. And then you build up, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool. I can smile at girls. I can compliment women. You might build yourself up to having a full blown conversation with a chick. And then it's like, okay, cool. I can do that easily. And then it's like, all right, well, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for, a lady that I've connected with and I feel aligned with her. I'm going to ask for her number and I'm going to organize a date. And you're slowly but surely, you're incrementally growing and you're expanding your capacity. Now, through every single phase of this journey, you will feel uncomfortable, but that's the point. Like, if you're not feeling uncomfortable and if you're not feeling a little bit uncertain in what you're doing, there's more than likely no growth there. And this doesn't just go for, the whole like social cues and stuff like that. It goes for absolutely everything. Think about career development, right? Let's say you're in a position where you do a set, 10 tasks, and that's like your main thing. Like, you do 10 main tasks, and someone asks you, hey John, can you do this task? And you say, in your mind, you're like, oh, that's not a part of my 10 task. I don't really know how to do that. I'm uncertain. What if I mess it up? Instead of allowing your mind to justify your lack of experience on that thing, which then leads to you not doing it, which then also leads to the hindrance of your development, I encourage you to step into that and say, hey, yeah, no worries. I'll give it a go. I don't really know what I'm doing right now, and I don't have that much experience, but I'm willing to learn, and I'm going to stay open-minded. And if you can do that, that's when your growth is, right? That's where your growth actually is, in the experience where you're uncomfortable, in the experience where you're forced to adapt, in the experience where you are actually leaning just on the edge outside of your comfort zone there. And that's going to expand your capacity as a person. And this, as I said, like, this goes for every area of your life. Whatever it is, find your comfort zones, find your capacity, and then work on expanding those. Because the higher level of like capacity you have, the more that you expand your capacity, the more you're capable of, right? Capacity, capable, very much similar words. And the more you can do that, the more you can do in life, right? If you have a capacity which is massive, right? Let's say you have a social capacity which is insanely massive. You don't have any limitations. It's like, yeah, I can literally walk in the middle of the street, talk to absolutely anyone, get anyone's phone number, connect with anyone, talk to anyone about my business, whatever. Your social capacity is massive. And that leads to a fucking an array of opportunities in your life. So understand that. Understand you should be expanding your capacity. And this should actually really excite you, because I've met some people who believe, oh, I'm just not that sort of person. It's like, what is that mentality? It's like, you were born and you have developed into who you are today, but you don't have to be stagnant. You don't have to be stuck, right? You don't have to stay as who you are. You can develop, you can attain self-mastery, you can get better. That's the whole point, right? But a lot of people will take these narratives that they tell themselves and then they run with them, and they're just like, oh, I am who I am. That's it. It's like, no, that's not it at all. You are who you are right now. Yes, it's smart to meet yourself in reality and assess who you are in truth. But from that point, you can realistically become whoever and whatever you want if you're willing to put in the necessary work. And it's just a mentality that you should really, I highly suggest you adopt the mentality of, you are limitless. You can become and do anything you want to do. Don't ever put limitations on yourself in any regard, because yes, while you may have a capacity at this point, right? We all have a capacity. While your capacity may be lower right now, it doesn't mean it has to stay there. It doesn't mean you don't have the ability to expand your capacity and grow and actually break free from your comfort zone. And it's a continuous journey too. Like, we're always going to have a capacity, but that capacity will be either, super, super small and constricted, or super big and expanded. And it all depends on the work that we choose to do. And that work has to be work that we don't necessarily want to do. That's the paradox, right? It's the paradox of growth. The work that you don't want to do is the work that counts. The work that you do want to do and you're comfortable with doing doesn't really count that much, right? Now, you might be saying, well, Ricky, what about like something like going to the gym, right? I love going to the gym. I really want to go to the gym. It's like, yeah, cool. You want to go to the gym, but do you want to lift the weight that you haven't lifted before, right? It's like, well, not really. It's like when you're doing that, when you're going for a PB, there's an element of fear there. It's like an element of uncertainty. It's like, I don't know if I can lift this. And it's in that moment that you're actually growing. It's not when you're, you know, lifting the 25 kilo dumbbells for curls and you've been doing that for the past 16 weeks. There's no growth there, right? You have to actually do things that are going to push your body past its perceived limitations. And like muscle growth is the perfect analogy. If you lift a weight that you can already lift and you've been lifting for the past 16 weeks and you continuously use that weight, yes, it's comfortable. Yes, you know you can do it. Yes, you probably even want to do it because you know you can do it. But the body has no reason to adapt past that point, right? If you're not adding any extra stimulus and if you're not stepping outside of your comfort zone, why would the body expand its capacity? In this case, specifically, why would the body build more muscle? You need to provide a stimulus which is higher than what the body currently has built to sort of like facilitate for, right? So if you already have arms that can curl 25 kilo dumbbells for 20 reps, why would they need to build more muscle, right? The body actually doesn't want to build muscle. It does so in a response to an increased stimulus over time. Vice versa with our growth. There's no reason to grow if we're not continuously putting ourselves in situations that provide more stimulus than we can currently handle. And in those situations where we're doing the work we don't necessarily want to do, we're growing as a person. Our being is reacting and you're creating a response from the being, which is the expansion of your capacity from doing the work that you don't want to do. And that's the beautiful part of this. So guys, I would highly, highly encourage you today to start thinking about like, what could you do to step outside of your comfort zone? Analyze where you are in your life and your self-development journey and all these sorts of things and find where your capacity is. Once you find where your capacity is, you can then work on cultivating a plan to expand that capacity. Let's say you're not someone who reads books, right? Let's say you're someone who doesn't really read, and you have this thing in your mind of like, oh, I just don't read, or maybe I can't read. I would really suggest that you just pick up a book and read one page. That's all. Just read one page. Literally, it'll take you under 5 minutes probably. Like just read one page and that's your goal. After you read the one page and then you're like, oh wow, like now the narratives in my mind that have told me that I can't read or I don't read, they're sort of like weakening, right? They're becoming weaker because you're proving them otherwise. And then I would encourage you to create like a progressive overload system to reading if this is your goal. And you could relate this to any goal in life. But let's say the next day you're going to say, okay, I'm going to read three pages. It's like, all right, cool. Then you read 3 pages, and then it's like 5 pages. And then you might set a goal 10 pages. And then a week later, you might set a goal every day, I'm going to read 1 chapter. And before you know it, you're a reader. Like you're consistently reading and you have expanded your capacity. Now, not only are you a reader and not only can you read and do you like reading, but you can read 1 chapter a day and then you can expand it even more. Maybe you can push yourself. Maybe you can read 1 whole book in a day and then your capacity expands even more, right? And this goes for everything. As I said, career, wealth generation, sort of like partners and relational pursuits, all sorts of things like that. Everything, every element of life has this thing to it. Even cooking, right? Like if you don't believe you can cook, or if you genuinely can't cook, you can start by frying an egg, and you might fuck up the egg 5 times, but on the 6th try, you might get it right. And then you're like, oh, cool, I can cook an egg. Now I might try cooking a steak. And you're expanding your capacity. But if you're always staying in this comfort zone, if you're always staying in this zone of just like stagnation, and you're just doing the things that you know you can do that feel good because you know you're not going to fail, there's no potential for failure because you have so many past references, there's no growth there. As good as it feels, right? There's a really good quote that says the comfort zone's a beautiful place, but the problem is nothing grows there. If you're in your comfort zone right now in any area of your life, I really suggest finding and creating a plan to expand that comfort zone and to expand your capacity. Short term, yeah, it doesn't really feel that good. Not going to lie to you. It's going to make you question everything. It's going to make you be like, I don't want to do this. But through pushing yourself and actually doing the thing you know that you need to do to expand your capacity, you grow as an individual and you experience your expansion. It's a really beautiful thing, guys. I hope you took a lot from this episode and I hope you got a ton of value. today, the call of action, all I want you guys to do is literally analyze where you're at, see where your comfort zones are, see where your current capacity is at, and then work on ways to expand that. But thank you for listening. If you are interested in working with me in a one-on-one setting or in joining my men's self-development community, the Self Mastery Society, just reach out to me at my Instagram, which is Ricky Gossi, and we can have a conversation around getting you in that. But other than that, guys, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode and keep crushing it. You.